So pretty decent sprint.
Yep.
At this point, clear weather, beautiful Brazil day.
Yeah, we're expected to see that the whole weekend, right?
And then the heavens opened.
F1's Facebook, I think, put out a thing of every position that Max has won starting from.
Yeah,
That was pretty neat too.
Yeah, and like
That's incredible.
I think he also took the record of like most wins from different positions now. Like he's taken so many wins from so many different positions that he now holds that record too. So just toss that one in the bin.
Yeah. What is this tire inflate gate? What is this?
Oh yeah, the inflate gate.
I like how you call it the inflate gate. That's funny.
Yeah. So there was a big moment when both Mercedes were under investigation for adjusting their tire pressure during the red flag before the second restart.
Get laced up.
Let's go.
It's time for Banter with the boys.
Yo, welcome back to Banter with the Boys. Fast laps. I almost said our other show, but I caught myself, so we're all good. Here we are. Joe, welcome back. It's been, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Which is incredibly long, way too long for fast laps.
It doesn't feel like it would be too long, but every time there's a 3 week break, I just forget everything. So I have to like study up really quick, read the notes that I made during the race.
I know.
But I'm really happy to be back. It's a triple header again. So we go right until the end of the season. Pretty sad it's ending, but also looking forward to maybe seeing some good racing.
But 3 really good tracks coming up. A great way to end the season for sure. And across the table from me, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but longtime listener, first time participant, other than in the comment section on our YouTube page.
I do be there.
Let's welcome Mike, our resident Haas fan, if you will.
Hell,
Yeah.
If you believe that. I'm maybe a little bit merch, you know. Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to talk F1. Like you said, I'm a longtime listener, so it's cool to be on the other side. Yeah. And I'm here with some hot takes. So
hot takes. He's
only the hottest takes.
Only the hottest takes from Mike over there.
I don't
want to
have
go by Mike on the pod,
whatever
right?
works. It's okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, don't tell me whatever. We'll call you whatever.
That's free reign. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll come up with something good for next week. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I don't have to bring my tinfoil hat anymore because he's probably just gonna come up with some.
He is the tinfoil hat. You have brought it.
I almost like went and wrapped a hat in tinfoil. I've got a bunch of hats at home, so I almost went and wrapped a hat in tinfoil and brought it, but I just admittedly forgot.
I have been waiting for Joe to do that for a few weeks, or
It'll
actually, you
next
said
season.
you had a good different plan for it or something. I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
I do have a plan for it in general. It'll probably show up next season. I don't know if there's any
So
more.
now you guys got to come back for 2025 fast laps.
True.
To see Joe's
We will be back.
tinfoil hat. Oh yeah.
Even if it's just me for some reason.
Oh, so Joe's kicking everybody off, including me. That's awesome.
This is my show now.
So now I got 4 episodes left. All right. No, and then unfortunately tonight Cole is not with us and probably will not be with us the rest of the season.
He's alive. I just want.
He is alive. Yeah. Let me to our listeners that can't see my smiling face on YouTube. I guess I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess if I was smiling, it would make me psychotic if he was dead. But anyway, yes, Cole is alive. He's alive and well. He's got a lot of great life event things going on. So he's just stepping away just for the remainder of this season. Maybe we'll see him back next season. We don't know. We'll still grab his picks. He's still a part of the Banter with the Boys crew, of course. But yeah, moving right along. Let's hit our Brazil recap, Kev. And as we head into our Brazil recap, I did want to point out Kev behind the camera here. He is also making everything happen. But Joe, I want you to go ahead. Why don't you take it away on the sprint shenanigans, some of the quality shenanigans as well. So,
bro, shenanigans is the perfect word to use for this for that weekend. I almost said this last weekend. It's been 3 weeks. God. It was just a crazy weekend. There was like no boring parts of it. It was just wild overall. So I have some notes down here.
Yeah, let it rip.
Like pre-sprint, first off, Max gets a 5-place grid penalty because he has to change his engine. That only applied during the race, and we did see that happen. We found out K-Mag was sick, so Ollie got to actually race for his next year team.
Messed up our bonus points.
It did mess up our bonus points.
At least Ollie got to race to get a penalty too, but we'll get there.
Yeah, honestly, it's almost like a blessing in disguise for me because I'm like, hey, at least I don't like lose points to people.
You were the only one to get a point.
Yeah, hey, I feel like a
crazy.
winner. We saw Perez and Hamilton out in Q2. Perez, honestly, I was about to say Perez, maybe not much of a surprise, but Hamilton, I feel like we've seen that a couple times this season from Hamilton. He's just not really making the pace. The car doesn't feel good for him anymore. So I don't know. It's kind of sad to
Priorities
see.
changing for Mercedes.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe they're building the car. Maybe.
I mean, you'd think the last few races they're going to send them out as best they can, obviously, but we've seen the car just can't quite compete with everybody else. But yeah, out in Q2 it's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah. And the last note I have here is that within that sprint quali, Behrman actually beat out Hulkenberg in that qualifying, which is pretty fun to see. I love rookies. Like I love seeing them race. I love seeing how well they do, and we have a good batch next season. So I'm looking forward to it.
No doubt. And we're gonna absolutely get your take on Bierman here in a minute. But go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So the starting grid for the sprint was Piastri to Norris to Leclerc to Verstappen to Sainz. We did see some McLaren team orders come into play for the sprint, which was Norris taking place over Piastri.
We've seen that a couple times now since the papaya rules have gone into effect.
Yeah, definitely. Since
and Piastri's done it. I don't think he's done it with any fuss every time. I mean, that's exactly what you need at this point in the season.
I mean, to be fair, Piastri did kind of, lead out and didn't give up the position right away. And we heard Lando over team comms like, hey, what's going on? Hey, are we going to do this team order thing? And Piastri I feel like just wanted to make that message heard of I could have won this race.
Oh, he's
this was mine and I gave it to you.
Yeah,
and
100%.
is kind of laying that groundwork of I'm not taking the back seat next season, And I feel like that message came through loud and clear.
That's why we're excited to see what McLaren brings us in 2025.
Yeah, very
excited. That's
excited.
its own story by itself.
Oh, yeah.
I bet. A lot to preview there. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, you're good. No need to
Good stuff.
no need to apologize. It's your show.
Hey, no, it's your show.
Well, not
too.
for
You're
long,
the
right?
host, homie.
Thanks, man. Thanks. But yeah, you're
Oh,
totally
that's
right.
I didn't fight. I forgot. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, I'll never do that again. So Piastri, you're right. Piastri did. He did. Yeah. I mean, McLaren even came on radio. He's like, "Hey, I think we can just do this in the last lap of the race." And then I think. Did we see? Yeah, we saw the virtual safety car come out, and that's exactly when they did it. It almost seemed a little
So close.
Listen, I'm a McLaren fan, so I don't typically say this, but it almost seemed like maybe the virtual safety car came out at a too perfect a time for McLaren. Like it was virtual safety car, and then I think it went to safety car, or it ended.
I thought you left the
right after
tinfoil
they
hat at
swapped.
home.
I did leave it at home, but I'm just saying it worked out perfectly for McLaren.
sure.
So good. And then on top of that, Verstappen got a 5-second penalty for infringing the VSC. So yeah, it was just an overall really good situation for McLaren. Norris won that sprint with Piastri in second, Leclerc in third, and then Verstappen following them. So pretty decent sprint.
Yep.
At this point, clear weather, beautiful Brazil day.
Yeah, we're expected to see that the whole weekend, right?
And then the heavens opened. So following sprint, this is Saturday at this point. We're supposed to have quality for the race. It started raining. There was a lake in the pit lane, for lack of a better way of explaining it. It was so rainy that Saturday. I remember tuning into qualifying an hour or two, I think, after it was supposed to start. Because they just hadn't started streaming yet because it was raining. They had already pushed it back. So I tuned in, and then I sat there watching the stream for another probably hour before they finally called it and said that they were going to postpone qualifying to Sunday. So quali was postponed to Sunday. It did not stop raining at all. I think the rain was probably a little bit better on Sunday, and that's when they were able to finally get out there. But during race quali, I have a laundry list of things. We see everyone on full wets in Q1. Yeah. The first red flag in Q1 was Colapinto crashing. And then we saw Lewis actually get out in Q1. He did not make it in Q2. The second red flag in Q2 was Sainz crashing. And then the third red flag, also in Q2, Stroll crashing, session not resuming because it was 80 seconds. 80
What a
seconds.
weekend for Stroll.
Yeah.
We'll touch on it.
Yeah.
Awesome weekend. Mega
Straight
drive
up,
from Stroll.
yeah, best drive from Stroll. 50 seconds left in the session, so they just did not continue it. We saw Max, Checo, and Carlos out in Q2. And then two red flags in Q3 from Alonso and Albon. Albon's crash unfortunately did make it so that he was not able to race in the he was not able to race later that morning. I think I was like for our time, quality was like at 5:30 a.m. or something like that, or something crazy.
It was super early.
He and I we had got on a call and we were watching it together, and we started watching it I think at like
8:15
or something like that. We were able to get qualifying done, and then we jumped right into the race because it started around like 9 or something.
We were actually a little scared that we were gonna have to cut quali early because we were getting so close to the race.
Yeah.
So
we timed it pretty perfectly. We cut through all of like nothing happening because there were like 4 red flags during quali, but
5.
Yeah, 5 red flags during quali. Yeah. So
I think there were 5.
Yeah, that is all that happened before the race. Straight up, and then we jump into the race, and then more happens, and I think
where literally nothing happened.
Yeah, it was like
nothing
it was a calm, chill race. Yeah. Well, actually, in some moments, nothing did happen.
No, just pure insanity. Not really a ton of carnage, if you will, but there's a couple incidents.
Depends.
Well, I guess we got to start with Stroll. On the formation lap, are you? Yep. Okay.
I wrote in because we have every team listed out in Aston Martin. I said thank you, Lance Stroll, because that was just. So he spun out, and I think did he actually hit the wall?
No, he didn't.
He did.
It, right? He tapped it. He took like very slight wing damage, but it was like nothing major.
Yeah.
It was like he definitely could have just gone back out. Maybe start from the pit lane at worst, right?
Yeah.
But it was nothing major.
He tapped the wall. He spun around to go back, and he drove into the gravel just immediately, and then he beached himself.
That's the part that kills me.
Yeah.
Is the part that he got out, spun himself around, and drove straight into the gravel.
I watched.
There was an exit road too.
Was there a reason for that though? Like, do you think he thought he had enough damage? He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna beach it. But why would he just that's insanity? And like the crowd started going crazy before they showed it, and I was like, what is going on? And then they show Stroll in the middle of it. I'm like, how did that just happen?
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
I remember watching the stream, and they cut him in the wall, and then they pitch away, and then they cut back to him, and he's in the middle gravel, and I'm like, was there just a glitch in the Matrix? Like, what just happened? There are fun little theories and I've heard that it's like, I just don't think he wants to race anymore. he's just like, I'm okay. That was crazy.
I personally just think that he like hit the wall and was just so frustrated because he's like, oh my gosh, I just spun out in the formation lap. That's so embarrassing. And he was just so angry. He's like, I'm just gonna go. And he just like floored it and forgot that there was gravel directly to his left and just beached himself.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I thought you were saying he purposely drove into the gravel because he was upset. You're saying he was so upset that he might have just clouded his judgment, just totally lapsed that he was even there.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Fair enough. And he shit so low to the ground, he probably can't even see it.
Well, also their heads are like latching, so they don't have a whole lot of like freedom of movement, right? So, like, it's possible. I think he could have just whipped his car around.
There, sure.
He should not have made that mistake.
I mean, you see drivers do it blindfolded on sims, thank God.
Right.
But they race the tracks on blindfold. I mean, they know these tracks in and out.
Yeah.
So, but that's pure insanity to start the race.
It's a very Lance Stroll move.
God, what a guy.
If you were to tell me who's the driver that did this, I would have said Lance Stroll, maybe Logan Sargent.
Maybe Logan.
Yeah. But Logan's not the scapegoat anymore.
He's not.
Now Lancelot is now the number 1 scapegoat again.
Yep. Rough.
He's probably wishing Logan was back. The false start deal. I feel like you probably have a lot of knowledge on this, Joe.
It was very confusing.
What is the explanation there? Because Max came on the radio about it, and was like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, we gotta wait for green, even if it's So
So the rules state that at an abandoned start, you aren't supposed to like leave like the grid unless you see green light. If it still says red, you're supposed to wait there and stay.
And Lando left
to do like a second formation lap.
Which was going to happen anyway.
It was. And then a couple cars follow him. So there's a lot of questions like, does Lando get a penalty for that? But if he gets a penalty, then the cars that followed him should probably get one too. So yeah, it was a lot of mess. It was like talked about like for the first 30 minutes of like the race or the stream because they just didn't know what was going to happen.
Did he end up getting a penalty for
ended up getting like a $5,000 fine, like something really minor.
Yeah, darn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Kev over here trying to bully me into like $10 right now. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's all.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a really low fine, and then no one else got one because the FIA ruled that they saw him do it, and so they followed him. But he was the one that initiated it. If he didn't do that, they probably wouldn't have. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. But it was like, I mean, I'm downplaying it, but it was like a huge like contention point. Like this could like ruin his race. His race was already kind of ruined anyway. But
For sure.
yeah.
I still remember when we were watching this, like we were watching this live, and Joe's over here like, oh God, what's gonna happen? Oh no, this is gonna completely ruin his chances. Like,
That was cooler than that.
it was pretty close.
I don't know. I could see him on the edge of his seat being a McLaren fanboy with him and with Max starting so far back. Lando with a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Brazil.
I clung to the fact like he wasn't the only one that did it, or they didn't give half the grid a penalty.
Yeah.
And eventually Max left the line too, right?
Right. Well, yeah, because I mean, at that point, you're just like, oh, what else am I gonna do? I mean, everybody else is might as well.
Yeah. He stayed there for a while. He was like, we're not supposed to be.
But that's
going.
when he questioned it at first, and that's just knowing the rules, and not that Lando doesn't, but maybe. Lapse of judgment.
Lapse of judgment.
I didn't.
Maybe they're laughing internally, like Lance Stroll just hit the wall on a formation lap and then.
I want to go see this.
I want to go. I need a closer look at this immediately.
Nah.
Oh my gosh. Just to be clear, Kev's not a bully. He would not bully me into $10. Let me just be clear. What's that? Oh, yeah, he just said 20. So I guess I'm broke. Anyway. So let's talk about Red Bull. Max Verstappen wins the race from P17. I joked about Lance Stroll having a mega drive. That is the definition.
It is so annoying how good he is.
God.
I have
in pure insanity too. In the wet, in not like off and on rain. This rain has corner. This corner doesn't. Like I just.
Yeah, I have to give him all his props. Like there was fair enough. There was a safety car or a red flag that did help him out midway through the race, but he still made all of those places immediately. I'm not discounting any of his race. He really did such a good job, and I'm not a Max fan, but like, man, that was he really went through it, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And you put here that he surpasses Schumacher for the most consecutive days in lead of the WDC.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Oh, I think I do remember that. Did they mention that on the?
Yeah, they had to have, or else I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have noted it.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. But yeah, just an insane drive from Max. You're a big Max fan, right?
Oh
Mike?
yeah, I'm.
Yeah,
no, he's as far as like Red Bull goes, he's probably new Cole. If you will.
Probably.
As far as like the
I don't
hate
know if
on
I'm
Red Bull.
quite as much of a hater as Cole is, because I do like really respect Max. I think he's probably the best driver on the grid
You
right
would
now.
have lost Cole already.
Yeah, and Cole would have been like, "You're wrong." But yeah, no, I have like a huge respect for him, but I just don't like Red Bull. I've never really liked Red Bull, and so, I mean, I'll give him. It was an incredible drive. It's probably the best drive of his career, which is saying something. Like, that's outstanding. I think that's one of the best comebacks we've seen. It's like up there, right?
Yeah, we've seen. I think they did like there was a really cool graphic that F1 did of how many
Maxes?
people have how many people in general have made it from certain positions on the grid.
Yeah.
And like from P17, I think he's like one of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and F1's Facebook, I think, put out a thing of every position that Max has won starting from.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat too.
Yeah, and like
That's incredible.
I think he also took the record of like most wins from different positions now. Like he's taken so many wins from so many different positions that he now holds that record too. So just toss that one in the bin.
Yeah, pure insanity. Before we move on from Red Bull, though, we've talked about it all season. We talked about it last season.
Are we gonna ask him the question?
The question: what should Red Bull do with Sergio heading into 2025? What should be their plan from the outside looking in as a Haas fan? So you do not give a crap whether Red Bull sinks or swims. You'd probably rather see them sink.
I'd rather see them sink.
I think, but just to give kind of like,
but it's the question of the
I think
season,
you would rather see a good driver in the seat though. Probably.
Yeah, right.
But
I would rather see all the teams be good and like around the same level, so we could see more fighting.
Just crazy,
but like
competitive.
Yeah, right. Stuff like that. But yeah, I do think Checo should not be in his seat. I do not think he has earned his seat, especially this season. As for who should be in it,
Are you swapping him with an AlphaTauri driver, or not AlphaTauri, but you know what I
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So like, I feel like Yuki's been with the team for so long, he kind of has earned it, right? Because he's got the tenure.
But you say kind of, something's holding you
but
back.
also like he hasn't quite gotten the results to really earn it. Like
Not
he has
as consistent. He started out.
yeah,
Started great.
super good. Like he's had some super high highs and some pretty low lows.
True.
And he's kind of got a temper problem, and I don't think that's gonna mesh well with Max.
I feel like every F1 driver has small temper tantrums.
A
here
little
and there.
bit.
And then some more than others, obviously. Not to name names, but
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I think like he'd be okay. I think Liam would be good.
But do you
I'm-
put Liam in that seat over Yuki though for you, or is
I
that
think we
like
need to wait
jumping
and-
Yuki?
I think if these last 3 races are going to be really
Really
what decides
crucial?
it. Yes.
Sure, sure.
And I think like Liam knows that. That's why we're watching Liam
He
fight
pushed it hard.
Checo so
He's-
much
he's
every
pushed-
race.
Dude, his fight on Checo was
Oh, so good.
Interesting.
And like we know Helmet has literally come out and been like, you need to calm down with that. And Liam's like, oh sure. Anyways.
That's where Joe freaks out. Joe loses it if Helmut comes out and tells somebody else.
Oh my god! I mean, yeah, you know my take on a team having 4 cars on the. Yeah, I won't get into it.
I'm right there with him for whatever it's worth. I think it's whack. So like I don't know. I think that
So these last 3 races for you.
These
There's
last
a
3
lot
races-
that could get decided in these last 3 races in the Red Bull camp.
yeah. I'm also still huffing that copium of Danny Ricciardo is my favorite driver ever. So I would love to just see, let's just get rid of Checo and put Danny in for a little while.
So
Maybe he's
you're
got
having
it.
a tough time.
Oh man, I'm having a tough time.
Yeah, you're
a
having
rough couple
I
months.
also, it's been a tough year for me because like when I got into F1, the 2 faces that got me in were Daniel Ricciardo and Gunther Steiner. So it's been a tough year
yeah,
for me.
You're having a rough go of it. You're gonna have to find some new ones.
We're getting by. I'm finding some new faces I can like.
For sure. And then so moving along to Alpine. Wait a minute, that can't be right. Let me look in the list. Yeah, Alpine is on second on our list for the first time this season.
Probably for the last time.
First and last time of the season.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of rain in any of the races that we're coming to. So
Second and third, what a drive!
really?
I mean, Ocon. They both truly raced a pretty solid race. I mean, again, in the weather, obviously, I'm not going to keep saying it. Everybody battled that insane weather, but these guys, they got to feel good. Alpine as a whole has to feel really good right now. Yes, they again, like I said, they keep preaching about the 2026 engine and even a little bit about the 2025 car and everything's gonna be different, blah 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 blah. And who's in the car again next year? Jack with Pierre. So,
yeah,
things looking up for Alpine. I mean, if they can at least finish in points, at least one car finish in points, but the other one's got to be like 11 or 12, like just outside points for me. But if they can at least finish in points the last 3 races, I think that's a great finish for Alpine. Better than one would have thought.
Oh,
I mean, this is already way better than we.
And
than I was expecting.
didn't they just jump 2 spots in constructors
3.
too? 3 was
They were in
yeah.
ninth.
I have it written
They-
here 9 to 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
9
is
to 6,
a
and that's-
huge jump.
Yeah, they gotta feel super good right now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean,
Who's behind them? You just had it in here.
who's behind them?
Yeah, in the state. Who did
I
they
can
jump?
check
They
really
jumped.
quick.
They jumped Haas and Visa Cash App.
Oh yeah, the V cars. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And there's.
It's
I don't
wild.
know. If they can keep finishing again in points, at least one car in points, or at least competing with V carb, they could probably finish there.
It's possible, although they're gonna have to really fight for it because they're
Only 3 points.
3 points off
ahead
of
of
Haas.
So that's
Yeah.
arguably best of the rest. Race for best of the rest is Haas,
Right.
which is crazy enough.
Yeah.
And Alpine, Aston don't count for me.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, you said
Yeah.
Aston's like
Aston's
in
on their
little-
own tier
Yeah.
for me.
I think Aston is probably pretty safe in 5th, unless
I agree.
Haas or Alpine get like a crazy
So if
finish.
we're like really calling it best of the rest, it'd be Aston, right?
It'd be Aston,
But again,
yes.
like all season, I've just viewed them on their own. Like they're so consistent.
It
where
is
they
hard. It is hard to call them best of the rest. Actually, no, best of the rest would make sense because they're so far away from Mercedes.
Yeah.
And like they're still
there's-
reasonably close to Alpine, kind of. They're
And for the last
40
four,
points
four
off,
years,
but-
obviously it's been Mercedes and Red Bull, and but Ferrari and
McLaren.
McLaren have been right there too. At least 3rd, 4th, maybe. I can't remember if Aston maybe finished above one of them a couple years back, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess Aston would be best of the rest.
Yeah, but I see what you mean. They're like on their own.
They're
little field.
always
They're
like
not really
just
fighting
good enough
anyone
to
right
be
now.
better than Alpine, Haas, and V carb. Like
Yeah.
every race, though.
Right.
Even
Yes.
even Lancelot is at least there. you know, but
When he wants to, he
Although-
can drive a little bit. Yeah.
He is losing in WDC to Nico Hulkenberg. I just want to point that out.
Nico's had a great season.
Nico's had a great
and it sucks that he's leaving that car for a different one, in my opinion. But
I'm so excited to see him in Audi, though.
yeah,
When the day comes, when Audi starts, you're gonna hear
yeah, so much
the
for
like,
Mick.
yeah, you're gonna hear the like changing teams thing. I'm gonna take off my Haas hat and put on an Audi hat.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I might jump on Mercedes next year. We'll see. But Joe,
Yes.
take it away with McLaren. With their race this week.
I don't like-
Well, not this week. Actually, 3 weeks ago. But
You know, I don't really even know how what to say with them. Like, you know, they both had.
do you think it's just
okay
weather? Are you
races.
chalking it up as a McLaren fan, right?
yeah,
Fan, right? Are
I
you
would
just chalking it
probably-
up like that's a weather race. Let's get back at it.
Look
in
at
Vegas.
the sprint, right? Like they did really good in the sprint.
Right.
I think weather
With
probably
clean
has
weather.
most to do with it. Yeah, Piastri had a bump and then he got a penalty for it, and then the red flag ultimately like pushed them down a bit because they got they did a pit right beforehand. So yeah, I would just say bad luck in general for them. They did not impress me per se, but they also didn't, you know, I wasn't like unimpressed, I guess. Like I wasn't like, I can't believe they did this. It was a meh race for
I mean,
them.
at least they both were in points, which I guess they should be,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
But with the weather and everything, at least Piastri was still grabbing 4 points out of it,
Yeah.
which isn't awesome, but it's better than 0, right?
Yeah, and they
So,
also did they did another swap, I believe, during the race
I
as
think
well.
you're right.
So
Yep, I think you're right. So, Lando, the one thing I did want to say about Lando, his ridiculous overtake on George Russell, driving into the whatever you want to call it, the spray. I don't know. What is it? What do they call it?
A spray, yeah, I think you're
Spray.
right, yeah.
Yeah, Lando driving into the spray of George Russell and diving in. I don't know what turn it was. I can't remember. And then just diving into the corner to make the pass. I was like, that's pretty freaking risky in the weather. I mean, there's and they were showing the pod. I mean, I don't know how he saw. You barely saw the little beacon, you know.
yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out. That was pretty insane.
No, we had some like
Stuck out
really
for me.
fun. Like I mean, the race really it has to create like just really interesting overtakes and crazy kind of maneuvers. So yeah, it was fun
And
to
crazy
watch.
teams finishing in crazy spots.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know more about this, but I heard that McLaren actually has a different wing for the wet than they do for the dry. They've got a newer
The
wing
upper
for the
wing,
dry.
lower wing, both.
I think so, yeah. They've got like a
wow.
different wing for the dry because it's got better like aerodynamics and when it's dry out, but when it starts raining, it ruins their aero, and so they change wings, and so they're a little
That's
bit slower in the wet.
Yeah, I think naturally most cars want to have their wing set to more downforce just in general.
Yeah.
Because it's so wet and you want to stay on the ground.
Yeah, you need to stay on the ground.
And the cars are so light and so powerful.
Yeah. It's possible they may have a separate wing. I don't know for sure. They at least were on a widely different setting.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Ferrari. Charles grabs a few points for the team, and then signs on like lap 49 out of the 69 or whatever.
Tough.
Just spins out and nicks the wall, and that's about it for him. I do like how Sainz has been the last few races. I think these last 3 races, I mean, for all teams, we're going to say it for every team, so I'm not going to keep wasting our time there, but I mean, these last few races will be interesting to see what Carlos is going to bring too. Williams is already excited for what they're going to get, but
Oh yeah, I forgot to put that in news. Yeah. Carlos is running for Williams at the end of the race. We'll talk more about it later.
Oh,
but I forgot
that's
to put that in
right.
news. Yeah.
yeah, it's just the test though, right? Isn't he just testing? He's not.
Yes,
actually
he's not
running a
racing.
race?
Yeah.
Well, we'll touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much going on for Ferrari this race. Again, at least scraping by a couple points. Mike, you need to say anything on Ferrari?
I've got nothing. I was a little disappointed. I love Carlos Sainz, so watching
There it
him
is.
crash sucks. Yeah, he's like, I think he's probably, with Danny gone, probably taking my seat as my favorite driver on the grid. So kind of a bummer to see him crash, but looking forward to him in
You
Vegas.
excited for him to be in Williams?
No. Quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of Williams.
Would you have liked him taking Checo's seat?
God, please. I actually like
okay.
getting to
Fair
see him
enough.
in a good car. I would have hated the fact that I would have rooted for Red Bull, but I'd do the same if Danny went back to Red Bull.
Sure.
So like, it is what it is. I also really wanted to see him go to Audi. So
So basically the same exact thing I was saying.
Yeah.
More or less.
So pretty much just
I'm just saying I was there, you know.
I was there. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton fighting off Checo, of all people, to get that last point in Brazil there. But George Russell having another decent run. even with the wet weather. But I'd imagine he wished he could have fought for that podium. I had him in my podium. I was darn close.
Well, actually, Russell, like he was making calls out to Mercedes when Mercedes was like, we think you need to pit and get on some new tires, and he's like, I think I can stay on these tires and wait for a red flag. And they're like, no, you need to come in now. So he went in with the McLarens at the same time to kind of match their pit, right? And just right afterwards, it was boom, red flag, right? And that's what put
Did
the
he say anything on the radio after that?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
He was
I did not hear
very
that.
unhappy.
Okay.
And like I think in the news media afterwards, he was voicing his concern, being like, "This is ridiculous. Like, you know, I think we would have done so much better." I think he even said, "I might have even have won or been on the podium."
I don't think he would have won. Let's calm down. But he probably could have been on the podium.
He
though.
could have been on the podium.
I mean, Max was on a mission. I'm sorry.
He
I don't think he
was.
would have beat Max, but
I think Max would have had a harder time passing a Mercedes than
I'll
an
give
Alpine.
you that.
Max would have had to
100%.
fight more. That's
Max
for
would
sure.
have had to fight a lot more.
I'll give you that.
I do think Max probably would have taken him. Max is the better driver in the better car, but it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see. Haas, actually, go for it.
Yeah, this is all you, man.
What was your take on Haas?
Yeah,
was all you.
that was very disappointing. Nico getting the black flag, first one in how long? How many years?
I'll check really quick.
I think.
I'll double check when the last one
It's-
is.
Did you know when the last time there was a abandoned start? I was gonna look that up as well. And
I thought there was one just last year because there
Was
was.
there one
I
last
think there was
year?
an aborted
The
start
last
year
time a
'cause there
black
was
flag, so
aborted.
2007 Canadian Grand Prix was the last
black
time.
flag?
Yeah.
Yep, so yeah.
Last one.
Yep. Been a little while.
It's been a minute.
And I think there was an aborted start last year because the same thing happened. Somebody spun out in the formation lap. I don't remember where.
Wasn't it Charles?
I think it was Charles. Yeah.
Where would that have been? I'm trying to remember what that.
I don't
know.
remember. I didn't watch last season.
Yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
Relatively new.
So yeah. So okay. So
So-
you're just joining F1 this year.
Yeah, this is like
So
my,
at least he's not jumping on a bandwagon.
true. I have a big soft spot for the underdog, which is Haas. Well, not this year.
Hey, no, you picked a good year to hop on.
I picked a good year
That's
to hop
a weird
on.
way to put that. But yeah.
Yeah, super excited about Behrman though this race
Yeah.
because honestly, like his first time ever driving in an F1 car in full wet conditions at Sao Paulo of all places.
Yeah,
is
ridiculous elevation changes. Just
so crazy. I don't know if you've like done that race in the wet in like the game.
not in wet in the game. I
It's
have done it in the game, but not in the wet.
Nuts.
Yeah.
It'll put some chest hair on you.
Oh, I bet.
It's crazy.
Not me, buddy. Not me. Because I would. A, I already have some. But B, I would have smashed right into the wall on like turn 3 or something. So
The S's
My skills are low.
brutal. So yeah, honestly, his performance was actually amazing. Like I couldn't have asked for more out of a rookie. He still kept it on the track, which is like, I mean, better than like Franco Colapinto did, right?
yeah, that
Not-
sucks for him.
Talking
Not
about my
quite as
boy
good.
Franco like that.
Sorry, that's my
Yeah,
bad.
no, let's
Okay, hold on.
Whoa,
I'm gonna read an
whoa.
excerpt from my notes really quick.
Oh, hold on.
Lap 4, Behrman runs into the back of Colapinto and spins. What is this?
What are we doing here?
Who is this guy?
What are we doing? Not the
That's my driver. Thank you.
Let's go into Colapinto. Man, he hit pretty hard. He hit
yeah.
pretty hard. That
He hit
sucks.
pretty hard.
And obviously Albon, we don't even need to really talk about that. We already did. But yeah, Colapinto. I mean, he was running. He was in there.
He did
He was
actually-
in there.
he did pretty
And also
good.
in the wet. I think,
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier, I think we got a really good season next year of some rookie drivers. That it's gonna be
Where's
pure carnage.
Where's
next
Colapinto
season.
going though?
It's gonna be pure carnage next.
He doesn't have a seat next year.
He won't have one yet.
So
Nope, he's gonna have to wait.
So unless
Unless
Unless-
wait, we got to wait. News.
We're waiting for news?
I forgot to write that down as
waiting for
well
news,
because
okay.
we have to talk about that.
All right,
actually.
all right.
I totally
I'm so
forgot.
glad we all
Yeah.
have an idea.
It's been 3 weeks. I've forgotten everything.
Yes.
Yeah, let's wrap the recap here. Not a ton going on. Yuki, did he end up getting points? Yes, he did, but he qualified P3. No,
Yeah,
qualifies
actually,
for third. Yeah,
Amazing qualifying from both RBs. So
Yeah.
like, kind of sucks that they fell behind. at the
again, I
order,
think
but-
they're both feeling like they're unofficially competing for that spot at some
Right.
point next season. It might not be to start 2025,
Right,
for all we
yep.
know, but at some point they're competing to be like, well, if the option's on the table to take Checo out, I want you to pick me. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think
Yep.
they're both realizing that. I mean, I think that's a battle to watch, an inter-team battle these last 3 races for sure.
I'm looking forward.
That's
to
gonna
it.
be fun. Were you about to add something, Joe?
No, I was just gonna because you said it kind of sucks they fell back. They still got within top 10. That's all you can really ask for. Like both of them. I for some reason
Both
thought
of them.
Lawson maybe didn't make it, but no, he got 10th or 9th. Rather.
Yeah, 9th.
So they both got
Beating
in.
out HOF Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, yeah.
But Aston, we kind of Williams, yeah. What is this tire inflate gate? What is this?
Oh yeah, the inflate gate.
I like how you call it the inflate game. That's funny.
Yeah, so there was a big moment when both Mercedes were under investigation for adjusting their tire pressure during the red flag before the second restart.
Yeah.
Or
Whoa, I didn't hear
on the
about that.
abandoned restart when they were all on the grid and they had all their engineers come out.
Yeah.
Apparently they had adjusted their tire pressure, and so that was another topic of conversation through the whole race.
What's the rule again?
You cannot
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You can't do it after
They're in
like the
Parc
race
Fermé.
has started.
I
Yeah,
know,
Parc
isn't it?
Fermé.
Yeah, there it is. That's what I
Yeah,
was looking for.
you can't do it. So like through the entire race, that question was there because it said it was going to be investigated after the race. It was like they could just get disqualified, like
Did
straight
it
up.
get investigated? Did they
It
come to
didn't
a
get
conclusion?
investigated. They both got fines. So it was.
Another 5 Gs. For
Yes, I think
Lewis
it was
Hamilton
literally
of all
like
people? Oh, no.
5K both. Yeah.
For George Russell too.
Yeah.
Darn it.
yeah, a little slap
Which
on
is-
the wrist
it's-
and off you
it's-
go.
For such like any change to a car which can change the dynamic of your race, a fine. I don't know. Like I
It's
for
not
one
enough for you. You'd rather it be points or
I'm
time?
happy. I'm happy that they did not get. They didn't get any points taken off, or they didn't get. Smited down by the FIA's hammer,
Smited.
but smited.
I think you were right. I think it is
Smited down.
Smitten.
Smitten down. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. My ultimate take is that FIA needs to figure these things out during the race.
Would you like that, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Would you also like to see that rule change? If there's an abandoned start, would you like them to have the ability to change something like that?
Why don't you? No. If it's a Parc Fermé rule, okay. It might not be a Parc Fermé rule, but just like an out of the
I think
pit
it
box
is
rule.
I think it is Parc Fermé.
If it's a Parc Fermé rule, you should be getting a penalty for it.
Yeah.
You should be maybe even starting from the pit lane for it. Like it's you're
I
changing
think-
your car.
I
That's
think
how
the
it
default
goes.
is 5-place grid penalty, isn't
Something
it?
like
And like,
no, it's starting from the pit lane.
Is it straight starting from the? Okay, fair
I
enough.
think so.
No, yeah, because I suppose
think
there
so.
were there were people who made.
We see people starting from the pit lane all the time, and that's
Yeah.
because they're making
I
changes
feel
after.
like that's been a lot more this year than
Yeah,
It has
I've
been
seen
a
it a lot
lot
this
some
year.
people
Yeah.
starting from the pit
Yeah.
lane. I haven't seen that as much.
So I don't know. My heart is
Inflategate, I
happy.
love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. My heart is happy that they didn't get punched, but like or
My
slapped,
parade.
whatever. I'm out of it. I'm happy, but at the same time, it was a little weird. I guess.
No, fair enough.
I don't know.
No, all good. With that, let's wait for Joe to get punched by Lewis and George next week. But other than that, Kev, let's head right into our news. And to start off our news, the final seat.
Nope.
No, not final seat. That's right. The kick seat. Let's go back. Has been filled.
I almost
You
did.
go.
put
You
final
go ahead
seed.
and say his name.
Oh, Gabriel Bort. Oh no, I didn't practice beforehand.
Well, that's why I'm
Bortoleto?
putting you on the hot
Gabriel.
seat instead of me.
Bortoleto.
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 It's Gabriel
He's got it.
Bortoleto.
Mike's got it.
Gabriel Bortoleto. Okay.
All right.
Pinto,
Takes the second
Bortoleto.
seat and will race and kick with Hulk next year. Is that a 2-year deal then at least? Then is he going to make the jump to Audi as well?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
we
fairly
would
certain it was a multi-year deal. They want to get him in. I think this next year is supposed to be them like, let's get you into
Yeah.
Formula One. Let's get the training wheels on,
Yep,
and then
sure.
just get you ready for Audi in 26 because I think Stake just doesn't care about next year.
Probably not.
They're just playing the waiting game for reg changes and for Audi money.
Yeah, for sure. Where did he come from? Is he a F2 driver?
He is
Was he?
an F3 champion
F3
and the
champion.
current F2 leader.
Where is old Isaac on that list right now?
Isaac
Isaac
Hajar is in
Hajar?
second place. He is
Good enough, dude.
4.5 points. Yep, 4.5 points behind Bortoleto.
Oh,
So,
okay, that's an interesting.
It's a pretty close one, I
yeah,
guess.
that's
so.
an interesting race. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, you even put that in there, and I just decided
did?
to
Oh.
ignore that. I guess.
Forgot
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah,
He's part of the McLaren driver development program.
And I guess McLaren has been putting like a bunch of money and time into developing him, and are finally just like, you know what? We've got Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. What more do we need? Go off and be free.
Which is probably the right move.
Great.
I mean, you got to
happy.
let a guy like that. You'll go ahead and touch on Colapinto in a minute, but you got to let a guy go.
Yeah.
Get him going. Let's see. You know what? Why don't you do the Colapinto thing? What is going on with him?
So I don't know if anything's been confirmed. Someone had mentioned that this was like a thing that was happening, but I heard that Colapinto was maybe going into the Red Bull outfit. I don't like they didn't place him in any seat or anything, but he was joining the Red Bull family.
Yeah, I see something on Planet F1.
It could all be rumors. The guy that sent me this news, he likes he likes to send me things, then maybe say that they're confirmed, but really they're not. So that's an interesting thought.
So would he come in and be the?
He would have to be V-carb, right? He would have to be. If they so here's my tinfoil hat prediction.
Here it is.
Checo is gone. He's out.
Oh God, he just took Checo away.
Checo's gone.
Yeah.
Right. They boot him. They put. I mean, it's crazy to me that they're even talking about Liam for that seat. I think you're right. I think it's going to, like, the last 3 races determine who takes the seat if they switch out Checo. But let's say Yuki goes up. Colapinto would be a great second for V-carb because I think he's already proven himself a little bit. I personally love the way he drives. He drives like he's a veteran, but he's a rookie, right? So
you don't see him jumping. This article seems to think that potentially
there is
jump Yuki
0%
and Liam.
No way that Colapinto takes Checo's seat. There's just no way.
So on the flip
But
side,
what if it's an empty seat though, and it's not Checo's anymore? Then you can take the empty seat.
Well, they have so many people. They took to do you
a fun hot take that I overheard, and I like the idea of it. I think it's a bit of a stretch. But I had heard
coming on with tinfoil hat.
Yeah, now it's my turn to put the tinfoil hat on. So somebody I had overheard talking about the potential of Colapinto going to V-carb for now and taking Yuki's seat. And Yuki is going to be released from Red Bull and sent off to Aston as kind of like a sending off because Yuki is a part of Honda and is sponsored with Honda. And so he'll be going to Aston with Honda. And what's crazy is there's like a history of this. Back when Red Bull left Renault, they had, I think it was Carlos Sainz was on V-carb, and they like released him. Like I think it was him who had a relation with Renault, and they released him along with Renault as like a good sign of good faith with Renault. Like, hey, we're gonna let go of you guys and this driver at the same time, so that And it was like and so there's like some
idea. This is interesting. Do we finally see Lance off?
And so there's talk that now that Lawrence has been divesting some of his ownership in Aston to other people like Adrian Newey and to like Honda and things like that. And so there's more say on who might have that other seat. And so we could see potentially Lance taken out and Yuki put in.
Now that's an interesting thought.
And we know
you say no way.
Crazy.
Or
I
you
just think it's
just
crazy.
It's a crazy tinfoil hat, but I love it.
I mean, the cards fall. Like your idea. I mean, the cards are falling right there. I'm like, whoa, this is too much.
I don't hate that take.
I love it. I love it.
I think it's incredibly unhinged, and it's very unlikely.
Incredibly unhinged.
Because so many moving parts have to happen.
Yes.
Right. And like, I haven't seen anything that's been like even touched on it. And usually people talk about things.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. I wouldn't hate Yuki being like, you know what? Nothing's going to happen in this team.
I mean, think about it. He's been with V-carb for what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
And still isn't going into the Red Bull seat. So like, just go follow Honda, go to Aston, which is got all of this new great talent coming into them. And I mean, maybe find a new great seat.
The biggest action that needs to happen is Stroll needs to give up a seat.
Yes.
And
he should.
If he wants the seat, I think Lawrence is probably going to give it to him.
Yep.
Right? Now, if he doesn't want the seat,
Stroll will do that'd be Yeah, you know what?
I
I'm
think
gonna
there's-
pull myself out of F1.
Or here's
You
the
know what I
thing.
mean?
There's an argument to say he doesn't want to be doing this. I've heard rumors that Lawrence is the one pushing. He wants to have his son win a championship. It's not going to happen. But like he wants his son to be there. There have been like rumors that Lance is actually not the one. I think Gunther Steiner was actually the one that was in a video. He came out and said Lance doesn't want to be there. Lawrence wants him to be there. So
Lance doesn't want to be at Aston, or Lance doesn't want to be
racing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And there are people who are arguing that that's part of the reason
No.
that he beached himself is because he's like just tired of driving. He's like, hey, I've got a free out.
This
I'm
is
just gonna go beach
this is
myself.
Gunther Steiner.
This is too much.
This is Gunther
This is all
Steiner.
falling into
you know.
place way too much.
This is Gunther Steiner, fired F1 principal.
True.
Hey, we all love him,
Hate.
but
Right.
he's not in the game.
It's true. He's not.
But like, it's an interesting theory.
That's really.
So if that's the case, he doesn't want to be in it. Lawrence is like, you know what? Fine, take you out. Yeah, that needs to happen though. Like Lance needs to. And it's funny. We won't know about it.
I love it.
Yeah, we won't know about
And
it.
Yuki racing with Alonso, I love
yeah.
it.
And with Newey there, does Aston
Newey?
stop being in a tier of their own for me and move up
Maybe.
to those other cars and start competing with the likes of like Mercedes and
We've seen him do it before, not with a long period, but
Yeah.
like you look back at like Force India,
when Alonso was going crazy.
Yeah,
or like when Alonso was going crazy, like stuff like that. So
yeah. I kind of I said this earlier in the season when the Newey talks were super hot. Like Newey didn't build Rome in a day. It took him
No,
some time.
for sure.
So like it's
For sure.
still going to take
100%.
Aston some time probably. But yeah,
But if you
maybe
can
they
lock
get a little
up
higher.
Yuki for a little bit. with
Yeah,
Aston, it's
Yuki,
not
who
the
you
worst
you
idea.
famously once said was better than Alonso. That's a
When did
real
I say
take.
this?
He
That
said
was-
this months ago.
That's
but
a
he
real
said it.
take.
this was like some I don't remember what all
I
the
had
context was.
I had him rank every single driver, and Yuki was above Alonso, and I went off.
I was just like, so this was like at a point in the season where like Alonso wasn't doing great and like Lance was actually doing like beating him in like races at that time. And I was like, man, he just doesn't seem like he wants to be there right now. And I was like, Yuki at least has got some fire in him. And Yuki was driving crazy at the time and Alonso just wasn't driving great. And I was like, you know what? Like, I think right now Yuki is probably better than Alonso is at the moment. Alonso's the better driver overall, but like,
You didn't say that.
okay, well, I guess I didn't say that.
With that, let's wrap up some of our news here. Canadian GP shifted to earlier in the season, starting in 2026.
Yep.
Is that really a huge deal? Is it just changes up the mojo a little bit?
Change up the
Everybody's used
mojo.
to?
I mean, like the biggest reason is carbon zero or zero emissions by 2030. That's like the whole reason. It's now going to be after or before Miami.
I don't remember.
One of the two. So like go to Miami, go across the
I guess
the
that
border.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I heard this is again from my unreliable source, but I heard that cuts down like 2 flights per team, so that's like a ton.
Well, and my wife, who just started watching F1 with me this year because of TV's being used for F1, so she just started watching it anyway. But she was like, weren't they already in the U.S. earlier this year? When she asked me, like, weren't they already in Vegas? I was like, no. And she was like, well, they were somewhere. I was like, Miami. And she's like, yeah, so why are they coming back? That seems like a lot of travel. She actually brought that up, like, during Brazil.
Yeah.
So
It does seem, I don't know, I kind of like the idea, but I also don't like the idea that like the U.S. could have 3 races in a row.
that's what I hate. That's what I hate. I like
think-
the idea of the travel, right? And the idea of zero emissions. I get the point of it, but I hate that it'd be like bang, bang, bang.
it's just-
They could still split it up. They could do like Miami. Let's head up to Canada, go knock out Canada, and then come down to Vegas, do Vegas, go down to Mexico, do Mexico, come up and end in Coda, right? And like, so it doesn't have to be three U.S. races.
specific, but like
it would still be North
yeah,
America
yeah.
5
Yeah.
times in a row at that point. But that's kind of the point of reducing the carbon emissions. So.
yeah,
right.
I think it's. I was gonna say like the reason why we don't see like the both Italy races are together are because like most countries cannot handle 2 races like back to back. They cannot do it. We're a huge country and we have to look at it at a state level.
Sure,
Like,
sure. That
right,
makes
so-
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I think it would be weird to have like all the U.S. races knocked out. It would be like a fun month because we just get like
no,
races.
for us it'd be awesome.
Yeah, we
right?
get just
But-
like races that we don't have to be up super early except
Yeah.
for Vegas. But yeah,
It's gonna be up super late. for
That's
Vegas.
right. I forgot that Vegas.
Super
Is
excited
that like
to stay
midnight,
up.
right? Don't they start at midnight or is it 11 p.m.?
starts at midnight Sunday morning.
Right. So
So
Saturday
like
night,
practice starts on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
a whole thing.
I know. I should buy F1 TV finally now. If I buy it now, is it good till like a year to right now next
Yes.
year? Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll bet, yeah.
It's a yearly.
I'm definitely gonna get it for
It's
next
a
season.
really
I can't believe
good
I already
investment.
don't have it.
really, really good investment.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anyway, you guys don't need to hear about my F1 TV. Yeah, with that, Kev, let's head right into our Vegas preview. And like always, to start our preview, we got oh darn it, I didn't have a good name for it. I just put Joe's preview. That's really
I think I put Joe's preview, or did you put?
I added it in there.
okay.
You forgot it actually. You forgot
No,
your
I
own
didn't
preview.
actually. You put Joe's preview in news, and I put Vegas preview in wrap.
Oh.
Which is actually, so we were both wrong.
We'll just go.
Okay.
You just do
Hey, guys,
the Las Vegas preview like we normally do. Here it is.
Vegas recap this year. It is the Formula One Heineken Silver Las Vegas Grand Prix 2024. Easiest thing
That's
I've
a
ever said in my
mouthful
life.
still,
Yeah.
too.
Still don't think I could say it 3 times fast.
Yeah, this is the second year running. Last year we had Carlos's Ferrari get absolutely obliterated by the drain pipe cover, in which he got penalized for fixing because, of course, he would.
That's so ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
Fun fact, I always got to get a fun fact in there.
Yeah.
F1 previously staged 2 races in Las Vegas in the early 1980s under the Caesars Palace Grand Prix moniker. So this is not like the first, like the second time ever. It's the 4th time ever, but like,
Interesting. I'm gonna have to see what that track looked like.
yeah. I think I put down another note. This was like an opinion before like they started racing. The track kind of looks boring. It was pointed out to me in like a reel, I think earlier this week, that it looks like Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie.
Whoa.
If anyone,
Yeah.
we'll look at it after.
The 1981 to 84 season Caesars Palace Grand Prix track was extremely tight and technical in comparison. I mean,
really?
Yeah, he's gonna pull it up. Oh no, he's pulling up Spider Pig. Never mind.
Yeah, so
I was
it's
like,
the
Kev's gonna
upside
pull up
down
the
ones.
track
Yeah,
for
that's
you,
what the
but-
track. So now look, now pull up the track, Kev, if you
It
can.
does. That's so crazy. Now
Pull up the Vegas Grand Prix
Unreal.
images.
Oh my God.
There it is.
it totally is.
That's amazing.
Spider Pig.
If you guys can see it from there.
Yeah.
That is how.
Oh, it's
small
also
the track
Spider Pig
used to
kind of.
be.
In
comparison.
I see.
In comparison.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
super tight and
incredibly
technical.
small.
Oh yeah.
Can you do creative tracks on the really crappy, according to you, F1 game?
No.
Oh, okay, no. Don't get him started.
Because it's bad.
Don't get him
Oh
started.
no, trust
He's
me.
heard everything.
I know. I'm
Who do
sure.
you think he races with?
Yeah,
I'd
he's my.
imagine.
All right, jumping back into the recap.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're
Sidebar.
good. You're good. I used to say that the track kind of looks boring, but it actually produced really good racing last year. I was very surprised. A personal opinion of mine, though, is that I really dislike the fanfare around the race. I dislike that we're starting so late. I dislike the whole like carnival and like fair and production behind it. Like it's just super extra. I don't know. It was unneeded. It was so weird seeing.
We got what? What track is that? Not Dubai.
Monaco?
Somewhere else has like a Ferris wheel and crap like right next to the track. Like
Yeah, but that's all like
that's Japan actually.
yeah, that's all
Japan,
like, you know,
okay.
separate to it. Like during, like I remember like before the race, like during the drivers parade, it was like a literal parade. They had the drivers raising up in like their little like risers.
Okay, yeah,
to be
that's-
it was just a
that's-
lot. It
that's
was just
too much.
it was a bit
I'll
too
say
much.
that. That's a little bit too much.
I felt like I was being overhyped watching it, and it's like I'm just gonna be
And
disappointed.
the race last year really wasn't. Well, I'm not gonna spill the beans. Go for it.
Yeah, it's my job, man.
Yeah. That's why I'm letting you do it.
Anyway, so the
With my
starting grid.
permission.
The starting grid last year was Charles, Max, and George in that order. Off the line and into the first corner, we saw Max push Charles off the track, and he goes off with him. They both were joined, still in front of George, but swapped, Max now leading the pack. On lap 8, Max is given a 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the track. Further down the grid, I personally counted 9 other cars go off track, with 2 of them facing in the opposite direction they're supposed to go, those 2 being Carlos and Alonso. The commentator's exact words were, "Cars are absolutely everywhere." Within the pack at the back, Perez picking up some wing damage for hitting the backside of Mercedes. He pits, and Alonso also gets some wing damage from that, from those kind of shenanigans at the start as well. Lap 3, Lando very strangely and suddenly loses traction under acceleration and is unable to fight the car back straight. He spins and puts it into the wall at the runoff. I don't know if you guys remember that, but like just out of nowhere he spun. And I think it was mostly because this is like a night race in Vegas. Who spun? Lando. Yeah, it was just that lap 3 straight.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. On lap 16, we watch as Carlos does what was unthinkable until now. He overtakes Max on track after a very long straight. At this point in the season, Max was virtually unstoppable, completely dominant, so it was really nice to see some action against him. A lap later, the last remaining McLaren bumped wheels with the Mercedes of Hamilton. Both cars pick up some damage in the form of punctures and wheel issues, and both have to pit. Piastri comes out in 14th with Hamilton in 19th. On lap 25, Verstappen attempts the overtake on Russell on the inside of the corner. They both make contact, Verstappen hitting Russell's wheel with his wing, leaving debris scattered across the track. This brings out a safety car, which gives Perez a fairly free pit stop, leaving him in second place after the safety car. Russell takes the penalty for the collision with Max. Lap 32, Perez makes the move on Leclerc for the lead of the GP and sticks it. Piastri in third eventually gets overtaken by Verstappen as well, and both Alpines are sitting comfortably in fifth and sixth, but start fighting for position on lap 34. Ocon has towed the whole position, but instead takes the position from Gasly. Lap 35, Charles makes the move and dives on the inside to take first place back from Checo. And on the next lap, Max easily takes second from Checo. And on the very next lap after that, we see him making the move on Charles for the first position. This isn't the last we see in Red Bull overtake, because on lap 43.50, Checo is able to seize the opportunity given to him by Charles running wide on turn 12 and steals the second position from him. And then the last lap of the race, when all hope is lost and we are in store for another 1-2 from Red Bull, Charles comes out of nowhere and slingshots his way ahead of Checo at turn 14, sticking the position and holding it from Perez to the finish line 3 turns later. I remember seeing that moment like happen live, and I was just like out of my seat cheering because it was such a crazy move. That long straight produced so many good overtakes. So our final was Max to Charles to Sergio, Ocon to Lance to Carlos, Lewis to George to Alonso, and then to Oscar. So kind of crazy top 10.
You're right about that straight though. I mean, so many overtaking opportunities, so much speed too.
Yes. There. The strip straight was
I'm just
so fast.
Re-looking at it now too, and also I want to say I forgot how cool Red Bull and Ferrari's liveries were last year.
Yeah.
Oh, did they have special liveries?
Pretty neat looking. Like Ferrari's like red with white, like every accent was completely white. I don't know. It was a cool look.
The Red Bull suit livery was stupid though. They looked like
you didn't like that?
The Red Bull car was good. Look at their racing suits.
How they're white?
They look like Elvis.
Oh, is that what that?
Yeah, they're Elvis racing suits.
Yeah, okay, that's a little rough.
It was so, and okay. Back to the fanfare.
Insane
after the race, they have to drive to the podium, which is across like a cross away from the strip in a different hotel. It's just so extra.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that seems
away
ridiculous.
from all the fans and everything.
Well, what else are you gonna do all that though? I mean, you only do have so much room in Vegas right there. I mean, you got to go just a little bit further though in the desert, but
it's all about the money, man.
I know.
I feel like you'd want to do it on the strip, like set something up on the strip, because like it's the strip. That's the place in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I just know like where the finish line was. They had to drive. I think like they had to drive like off track to get to this place where they did their podium stuff, or they did their interviews, and then they drove back to do their podiums. It was just really extra, and they were crammed into the back seat of a car, all 3 of them. Perez and Max in their Elvis suits.
Zero emissions, so you got to cram them all in the back.
Oh, of course.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can't have them all. Yeah, that's a good point.
Can't be taking 2 cars.
Yeah, we couldn't just have the
across
interviews
the street to the hotel. No way.
Yeah, no, can't just have the interview there. That would be that's not Vegas material. You know.
So yeah, let's talk about real quick before we get into our picks for the Vegas race. Brazil did not go well for anybody as far as our picks go. Joe was the only one with a point.
Let's go.
Our bonus point was, where will K-Meg finish? Well, K-Meg didn't race, so nobody got any bonus points.
That was a non-starter.
Nobody got any bonus points. Between Tyler, Cole, and myself, we had a mixture of Charles, Lando, George, I already said Carlos. Did I say Lando? Whatever. We had drivers that didn't finish on the podium, so we didn't score any points. So Joe, only one to grab a point this week.
And that crawls me up to
last place still.
Let's go.
But
Working
you are-
your way up.
But he's 1 point. He's 1 point behind me. So he's trying to be best of the rest
Ooh.
against me. Not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And then Tyler and Cole are fighting for the win here. And then I mean, you could come in. It's only 30
It's
points
only 30
away.
points. Trust me, I've got it.
For sure.
Yeah, every race you can make total of 3 points. So if I don't score,
I'm gunning for you.
probably you could beat me. I'm really bad at this.
Do you happen to have Tyler and Cole's
Yes,
picks
let me go ahead and pull
handy
that up
for
really
us?
quick. Let's actually, since you're not in the game, let's go ahead and hear your predictions
why you start with
first. Because you don't have any skin in the
We
game,
didn't
and
even
maybe
come up with a bonus point this week. Darn it. Where would
Ah,
K-Make
you know.
finish?
We run it back.
we run it back. Oh,
Okay.
you want to know? No, never mind. I thought I had one, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to do
Fair
it.
enough.
I think.
Pull up and-
Gosh.
We
So
gotta
do
do
I
that.
just set the bar for the boring pick?
No.
Do you want to?
What do you feel right now?
I have
you
them
ain't
up.
been
Should I
on.
go through them first?
Yeah, do them first.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's do them.
Who's first in the?
Tyler has to go first.
Tyler,
He's
okay.
leading with 44 points. Cole is 2 points behind him.
Tyler's is Max, Charles, and Oscar. Which is
Oscar over Lando, huh? Even
that
with papaya
means
rules.
That means that's a good point. Oh, that's a really good point. That means if his podium comes to fruition, Max wins the world the WDC this weekend.
If Max gets podium
let's
at
talk
all,
about that really quick.
He gets WDC.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quick. So
lay down a-
for Max to win WDC, he needs to get he needs to just beat Lando. Like that'll settle it. If he beats
Enough,
Lando,
no matter what.
what, if he beats Lando, he gets WDC.
If they both get 0 points,
If
I
they
think
both
it's
get
still
0 points,
game.
then I think
He
he might
might
still
pull
beat
it off.
him.
I think it's still game.
so Lando just needs to beat Max this week to even stay in
Lando needs to
contention.
get 3 places that 3 points more than
3 points. Yeah.
I think Lando
stay
needs to
alive?
Lando needs to make 3 points up from Max to stay in the race, to stay in the championship.
Yeah.
So Max, like Lando, literally just needs to get.
He needs to win out.
He needs. I mean, he needs to
say
win
much.
it. Yeah. He needs. He needs to. If he wins it, then he's in the competition. If he gets, even if he's above Max, like in 9th place, he still loses it because that's only like a point.
Right.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
with that prediction,
2025 is gonna be crazy.
Lando's done. Yeah. So that was Tyler's. Cole's.
Yeah, what's Cole? Yep.
Is Lando, Oscar, and Charles.
Lando, Oscar, and Charles sticking to the no Max
No
for
Max.
the rest of the
Yep.
season.
Crazy.
Typical. All right, Mike. Now you're on the hot seat. You had a
Now I'm
couple
on the
minutes to
hot
think
seat.
about it.
Yeah. I was gonna say Max, Lando, Charles.
Max, Lando, Charles.
Charles, yeah, but I think
Alright.
I'm actually gonna
Whoop.
take.
Whoop, whoop.
I think I'm actually gonna take Charles off, and I'm gonna do the Papayas and Max. So
Okay,
Oscar, Lando,
and
Max.
Piastri. Interesting.
I do.
Oh darn
think,
it! That's me before you too.
I do think we're gonna see the end of the championship this race, though.
Yeah,
That's my
I ain't
hot
gotta
take.
be like that,
I
man.
hate it too,
You
man.
can't
I
come
want
in
to
here
watch
and bring
Lando win.
negativity.
I'm sorry.
You can't come in here and be a realist.
God,
Come
I'm
on.
not coming back, guys.
We only work in
Unbelievable.
delusions here.
Unbelievable. I also think Max is going to be on the podium and also beat out Lando this race and just end it. Although there'd be great racing for the rest of
Man.
the season. I know, but
You're probably right.
it's
though.
gonna happen.
I want to see him fight in Abu Dhabi.
It'd be cool if the race.
I'm
made it
gonna
to
go
Abu
with
Dhabi.
my same. Is this the same one I had last week? No, almost. I'm gonna go Max, Lando, and George Russell.
Ooh,
Interesting.
George Russell.
He needs some momentum heading into 2025. He needs to have a good last three
I'm
races
telling you,
as well.
he like gets really close to being like
Good.
and
Yeah, I
then
know.
it's just like a
And
little.
he's like,
few
I
setbacks
forgot him,
during
George
race."
Russell. Darn it.
He's ahead of Lewis right now in constructor.
He is.
Or
He's
in
He's had a better
WDC.
season. Lewis has had a really up
Really
and down season. He's like
And, like-
really fast or has no pace at all and is fighting for points.
And this is their third season together, and Lewis won one season, and George won, I think, last season. And so if George wins this season too, then George has the right to say, I beat Lewis Hamilton 2-1.
Well,
Well, I mean, like,
I don't know.
I mean, I guess
he
yeah,
could
head to
say
head
that.
In the same car, in
teams,
head-to-head.
in the
You're right.
same
He could
car,
use those
I
words.
guess.
You're right.
He could use those words.
Would he though?
I sure hope not.
I would think he has respect for Lewis.
I would
Better
assume
than the
so.
greatest of all time. That's crazy.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True. All right. I mean, the moment of truth here.
It's Max Lando Charles.
Max
that was-
Lando
that was-
Charles.
yeah.
So our so our difference then, considering we're only a point apart, is the George and and Charles, who
Yeah.
I almost went with, but
So okay, I do want to.
Ferrari's quick.
I do want to state kind of like a little bit of a hot take. I was thinking about maybe going even Checo because he did pretty decent here last year, but with the season
point.
he's been
Yeah, he
having,
did.
the season he's been having, I just can't do it.
He did have a good race.
I can't
last
trust
year.
him.
He had a really good race last year, but yeah.
But he looked weird in the wet last. And again, it's probably going to be dry.
And also,
right?
he
But
hasn't been doing like outstanding at street courses this year. So why would I bother?
Like I think one of the commentators said in the last race that it was a different video I saw that was talking about it, and it was people are like arguing about like what's more important, the driver or the car. And this last weekend Max proves it's the car, and Max has been kind of proving that all season as like he's been doing well, and Checo just driving the same
Do you
car.
mean the
doesn't have
driver?
that. What did I say?
You said the car.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean the driver. Yeah, what's more important?
Yeah.
What's more important, the driver or the car?
I
Right?
was following where you were going.
Okay,
with it,
good.
but I was
Thank
like,
goodness. I'm
wait a
Then
clearly
you said the
having
wrong
a stroke.
thing, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, wait
hold
a
on.
minute.
I'm
But yeah,
glad you
so,
corrected
so
me.
you're saying it's a testament to Max's skill over Checo's skill at this point.
I think the car isn't. I don't even think the car is as good as we think it is. It might be worse than we think it is.
Oh, I don't
and
think the
it's-
car is good. Yeah.
No, yeah, and this is just how good Max Verstappen is. Like, I think what we're seeing with Checo driving it is the more realistic where this car is, right? So,
Dang. Okay, so you think we can't even be blaming Checo fully?
Oh,
on his
you can still blame
performance?
Checo.
Okay,
I mean-
no. But a little bit of it though is like the realistic expectation of the car right now.
yeah,
you're
right.
thinking.
Yeah.
Woo wee. All right.
I
promise some hot
think
takes.
find a
Table it.
spot in between Max and Checo. That's where the car should be, probably.
I think you can lean it closer to Checo, though.
I think you can lean it closer to. I think you should lean it closer to Max. I think Checo is worse. I think, unfortunately. Well, Max is really good. Max is really good. I don't know. Checo's not. Checo shouldn't. Nah, we all know my.
All right.
stance.
Well, we got a race to watch this
Yep.
week. We got to
do.
watch to see what
a triple header
Staying up
as
all night.
well.
we got. What do you mean?
Triple header.
We got back
Three,
to back.
back to back to back.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
there is not 3 F1 races on Sunday.
Yeah. We're gonna knock out the whole season this Sunday.
Yeah.
Is it? It's not a sprint weekend, is it?
No.
I don't think we have any more sprints.
I think.
I think Qatar might be a sprint. No.
Ooh, actually, I
it?
think he's
F1
right.
sprints,
I think he's right. I think
2024.
Qatar is.
Stand by.
I'm just gonna double check really quick. So we had Brazil was a sprint, and then we have. Oh my gosh, it's telling me everything but the calendar.
Awesome.
Yes,
That's
Qatar.
exactly what you're
Qatar is
looking
our
for.
last sprint. So no
Okay.
sprint this weekend.
But the following week we will have a sprint.
Yeah. So a little bit more
Interesting.
racing.
We like
All right.
racing.
All right. That's why we do the show.
Yeah. Big
That's why Mike's
question.
on the show.
That's why he's here. Big question. Does Max take it this weekend? I think that's like
Yep.
the biggest thing.
Yep. It's over.
It could be over.
It's over.
I think
but,
it's done.
Ooh boy, I can't wait to wrap. Not that I can't wait. I've loved this season. We've had a lot
You've
of fun.
wanted to get
I'm
out of
sorry.
here since
not
day
even,
one.
Not even. Calm down. Who is this guy? No. I'm excited to wrap this season, and I'm actually more excited now at this point to talk about next season.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
We already know Max is probably going to win it. As much as all of us at this table would probably rather see Lando pull off a magic trick, it's not going to happen. But I think 2025 is going to be insane. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Lance, if you're watching, do our nation a justice and crash out Max.
Oh
There's
my
still a
God,
chance.
that'd be-
Man.
You can fix your reputation, Lance. It's just this easy.
You can fix your reputation. There's 3 races left.
Oh,
Three
boy.
races, you can do this.
For you to be a legend.
Oh boy. And we still got constructors as well. That's not decided either.
Constructors is actually kind of a hot fight right now.
3 races left. We still got a lot of racing.
Yep.
A lot going on. We'll update the constructors at the next show after
good.
Vegas. But with that, Mike, thanks for being on the show this week.
Thank you for having
You've been
me.
an awesome addition.
This was fun.
We've loved having an actual Haas fan. Yes, you're new to it this year, but
There are dozens of us.
you drove.
There are tens of us.
There are tens.
You dove headfirst into the Haas Kool-Aid, and
Yep.
here you are.
And I'm still drinking it.
And I'm still drinking it. No, well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll
Yep.
see you again here soon.
Yeah.
Joe, as always, way to kill it. Kev, thanks for everything you do behind the screen there. With that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, wherever you listen to the banter, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you for the next, what did you say, 3-4 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, triple header.
Yeah.
Triple header. Peace.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.